Today, I wanted to show you how I finish off and really create fur texture on this stinking adorable lion illustration in Camilla DeRico's Catitude. So you can see in here, I'm adding whiskers because this illustration did not have any whiskers, and I'm using gouache here, and I'm thinking about little short flicks, and I'm actually doing it so lightly. I'm hitting the paper every third try. And this is something that I did when I painted with oil paintings too. Like, I'm so lightly, like that's a little bit too thick, but I'm not worried about it. And actually, if you notice, it didn't start until a little bit after the edge of the face. And I like that effect because when we're looking at something, we're not seeing every single whisker. So another thing that's important is that I'm angling the whiskers so that they are splaying out. If you look at this reference photo and the way that the dots, those little darker dots are on the face, they're kind of rounded to give, well, they are. So it helps them to appear so dimensional. So now I'm going to go in and add very tiny strokes with my size 0 round brush of this lighter texture. And it's really important not to be afraid to cover up some of the things you've already done, and then we can add it back because that is what is going to add dimension and depth to the picture. If that's the vibe of what you're going for, I'm using teeny tiny little strokes. Then here you can see I'm doing the same thing with its mouth, very, very lightly. And although I'm using gouache and I added white to it, so it is very opaque, I also have it thinned down. Now you're going to see me add a little bit of this red color, and I'm mixing it on this separate palette, making sure I'm going to add a little bit of white because I want to put this nose in on the lion, adding a little bit of the black color so it isn't vibrant, and I'm doing very, very light pressure. That's very important here. Adding a little bit more of the pinky color to the center and just tapping it on oh so lightly. You can either let it dry or add a little bit of the darker color in there as well, which you're going to see me do. Very, very lightly, especially in the center of the nose, because the center is going to be darker. And I like to use this same kind of dirty color in other spots aside from where the nose is. You see me adding a little bit more of that sienna color just to get like a dirty, kind of like a dirty color. And this is going to help to add even more dimension because we're putting this over what was lighter, knowing that we're going to have to be okay with it looking like there's something wrong with it until we're done with it. Like, it has to get to a messy stage. And sometimes we're bringing it to a messy stage way before, like we're doing that after we have already made it look really good. So why do we want to make it look messy again? You don't have to do this, my friend, but I like to do this because then it just layer after layer after layer is just going to create even more depth. And you can really see it here with the lion's mouth, just how much depth I'm creating with the fur texture. Adding a little bit darker color. I'm going to put those dots back in, but I'm doing it very kind of haphazardly. When I say that, I mean it's a little bit rough. I don't want this to look photographic. I want it to be more organic looking. And it's important to control the amount of water or pigment that's on your brush. So you could see here, I wiped my brush off and I'm just kind of tapping very gently, and that is helping to kind of blend things together. That's one of the reasons I love gouache so much. So it doesn't have a very harsh line right there. So it looks a little bit smoother of a transition. I'm going to add a little bit more of this brighter color, remembering that gouache is going to dry significantly lighter than it looks when you put it on, both because the water is going to evaporate and also the pigment is not going to be as dark as when you first put it on. So you have to be okay with going darker than you necessarily want it. So here I'm adding a little bit more of that lighter color, knowing I'm not going to assess it until it is completely dry. And see how I went rounded? That's very important. I'm not going straight across. I'm curving around, shaping the animal's face. With the profile of the face, I find it very important to do this. So it adds so much dimension, so it's not going to just look flat. One of the best lessons that I learned from all of the years of experience I have painting is not only to trust the process, but we have to be okay with our work going through uncomfortable stages. And if we're using a reference, it can be very helpful. See, right there, I put in this darker color because that's what I saw in the reference photo. But I don't want to just leave this blob. And I wanted to make it even darker so that it's showing the shadow. So you're going to see here, I'm really liking this, and you're going to see something I do that I may not like at first, but I like that it's underneath. So here, I'm almost making it look kind of cartoonish, but if you look at the photo of a lion, it does look like this. So now I'm dried my brush so I can stretch that out, smear it in a little bit, fade it out, and look at how I'm kind of tapping at the very edge of it. And I'm using the dark color that I'm tapping to help to create its texture of its mouth. I love watching this because it's making me want to paint right now, because I know that we're getting so close to this being done. Because then we just right here, see, coming over the top with that lighter color again. And now we have pushed the darker color back. So that's creating the shadow. And I came over the top and added a few extra whiskers here. Oh, look at how dimensional this mouth looks. It blows me away every single time. Every time I see this, it blows me away. So what do you think, my friends? I am in love with the way that this turned out. If you would like the full tutorial, start to finish with the background and every feature of this, it is available for my Studio Master members. You can either click the join button or the link is in the description box of this video. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.